Welcome to Vegas Hockey Hub here in the sports entertainment capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada, on PRConnectionsRadio.com, the voice of new media. I'm your host, Ian Rakelli. We have an amazing show planned out for you, and we're gonna do something a little different on tonight's episode of Vegas Hockey Hub. We've documented the Vegas Golden Knights. We have discussed the prospects and the good up and coming talent that are going to be in the Vegas Golden Knights system. I've even give some shout outs and some mentions to UNLV Rebels hockey. But one aspect we have not done yet here on Vegas Hockey Hub is going over the AHL affiliate, the team that exists here in the state of Nevada, and that is the Henderson Silver Knights. Henderson Silver Knights are entering their fourth season playing in Henderson, their second year playing at the Dollar Loan Center in Henderson, Nevada. And so far in the 2022-2023 season, there has been a lot to go over about the Henderson Silver Knights. So we're going to be doing a report on the Henderson Silver Knights so far, and we're going to be giving you the rundown, giving you some recap, some analysis on what has been happening in 2022 NHL season and what has been transpiring, where they are in the standings right now in the AHL with your Henderson Silver Knights. So we're going to start out by going over the players and going after what their statistics have been up to this point. So the leading goal scorer for your Henderson Silver Knights right now is Gage Quinney. Gage Quinney, the left wing, 10 goals on the year. I mean, this is a guy who was born in Las Vegas, Nevada. He became the first Vegas-born player to appear in an NHL game. And, he played for the Las Vegas Storm. He has a background. He is Vegas-born. So when it came to Gage Quinney having 10 goals, leading the team in goals, and it's really fascinating to see what Gage Quinney has done. I mean, this is a guy who scored a goal against Bakersfield on November 4th, then had back-to-back goals against Abbotsford and Tucson on the 12th and 15th, and then had a back-to-back in their two-game series against Ontario. So very solid performance for Gage Quinney, 5 of his goals being in the month of November. And with Gage Quinney, he's been playing in the AHL. This is his 6th season in the AHL. And as of right now, his career goals, the high that he has done in the AHL season is 19. So he's already 10 goals in. Maybe he will break his own career high here in the AHL. So Gage Quinney right now, the guy from Las Vegas, Nevada, leads the Henderson Silver Knights with 10 goals on the year. Second on the team with 9 goals, we have Jonas Rundberg, the right wing who has spent some time with the Vegas Golden Knights. 8 goals on the year. Now, I'm actually really surprised that he has not played more games with the Vegas Golden Knights. He's only had a cup of coffee in the 2022-2023 season, but he had a goal against Abbotsford on November 10th, a goal against Tucson on November 15th, and then had back-to-back goals recently November 25th against San Jose and November 27th against San Diego. So as of right now, he has racked up 4 goals in the month of November, right now having 8 goals. And, his career high was 14 from a year ago. So depending on what his status will be, will he be a healthy scratch in Vegas? Will he get called up if somebody gets injured? Or will he spend a good amount of time in the AHL? So Jonas Rundberg, him having 8 goals on the year for the Henderson Silver Knights, done very well so far in Henderson. Going down the list here, 7 goals is Sheldon Rampel, the offseason acquisition for the Vegas Golden Knights. He signed a 2-year minor league deal to come to Vegas after being with the Vancouver Canucks organization. He has 7 goals on the year, and, he had a 1 goal against Bakersfield on November 5th, had a goal against Ontario on November 19th. So only 2 goals in the month of November, but he had a 2-goal night back in late October against Colorado. Now, Sheldon Rample, this is his 5th season in the AHL. His career high was 33 goals this past season with Abbotsford. So you have a situation where Sheldon Rample is a legit goal scorer. He scored 33 goals this past season in the AHL in 55 games, him having 7 goals so far in a short AHL season. So it'll be interesting to see what Sheldon Rample can do the rest of the way. 2 more players to really go after who have been lighting up the lamp for the Henderson Silver Knights out here in the AHL. You have Byron Fries, who has 6 goals already for the Henderson Silver Knights. The free agent that they brought over from the Calgary Flames organization so far has 6 goals on the year. He had a 2-goal game against Ontario on October 18th, and so far in the month of November had a 1-goal against San Jose. So when it comes to Byron Fries, he has actually been in the AHL since 2011. That was the first time that he stepped up and played games in the AHL. He has over 125 goals as a AHL player. His career high was 27 back in 2016-2017. So when it comes to Byron Fries, he is someone who is established veteran, someone who adds stability to the Henderson Silver Knights. So it's a good thing that he has been brought in. He has added some veteran leadership to Henderson. And the last player that we're going to spotlight is on the defensive side, and that is Daniil Myromanov, who has 6 goals on the year for the Henderson Silver Knights. I mean, so far, only 17 games in. He is going to be playing some time with the Vegas Golden Knights at some point this year, I'm sure. But man, this month in November, he has had 6 goals, and those games were a 1-goal game against Bakersfield on November 5th, Abbotsford on November 12th, back-to-back goals against Tucson, and a goal against Ontario, and he followed that up late, a few games later, with a goal on November 22nd against Bakersfield. So those are really your best goal scorers for your AHL Henderson Silver Knights. Daniil Myromanov and Byron Fries with 6 goals. You have Sheldon Rample with 7, Jonas Rundberg with 8, and Gage Quinney, the Vegas-born forward, with 10. So that is on the skating side of it. So from a goalie perspective, this is where it gets interesting. Because Laurent Brisebois, the guy who got paid a lot of money to be with the Vegas Golden Knights, well, he recently joined the Henderson Silver Knights early in November. And when it comes to Brisebois, he has actually been in 7 games so far for the Henderson Silver Knights. He was with them on November 5th against Bakersfield. That was a game where they lost 6-3 in that matchup. Then moved on to November 8th. They took on San Diego, lost 7-0 in that matchup. November 15th, taking on Tucson. They won 7-1. November 16th, they went back and took on Tucson. They unfortunately lost 6-2. Now, Ontario, they lost in a stunning 3-2 loss. And against Bakersfield, they lost 3-2. So with Laurent Brisebois, he has unfortunately not looked like the guy that the Vegas Golden Knights are paying a couple $1 million for to be in the AHL. So you have him in net out there at Brisebois. You also have Jari Patara, who is your other goalie in net for the Henderson Silver Knights. So you have 2 goalies right now who are, sharing the load. Laurent Brisebois started 7 games. You had Patara, who started 6 games during that time period. So, that's really the situation where I talked about the goal scorers for the Henderson Silver Knights. Now I talked about the 2 goalies right now that are in net in Henderson. I'm going to give you the side-by-side stats real quick for Brisebois and Patara just to give you some comparison. Now, Brisbois has a better goals against average. Brisbois has a 2.35, whereas Batara has a 2.93. Now, Brisbois is currently 5 wins and 7 losses as a Silver Knight. Batara, 5 wins and 6 losses. So that's pretty much a big deal. The fact that Brisbois and Batara are kind of around the same save percentage. Once again, Brisbois has a little bit of an advantage. He has a 92.1 save percentage. Batara has a 90.6. And, when it really talk about what's going on there, the one aspect I have to give credit, however, is the fact that Brisbois has had better stats. Because, again, he's an NHL level goalie. It'd be surprising if Brisbois didn't have better numbers than Batara, considering he is a NHL level goalie. He is somebody who has played in the NHL. He is someone getting paid like an NHLer. So that's really the recap of the goalies there with the Henderson Silver Knights. The fact that Brisbois and Batara are both struggling, but are also being consistent at the same time. It's a weird dynamic between the Henderson Silver Knights. Now, I also want to give a quick mention real quick to the win and loss records that what happened in the month of November. So on that November 4th game, they were on the road taking on the Bakersfield Condors of the Edmonton Oilers. And, this game that happened here in Bakersfield, it was an interesting situation because it really wasn't their fault. We actually sat back and watched and actually analyzed what was going on with the Henderson Silver Knights, them losing 3-1 in Bakersfield. That was really just a situation of a better team winning overall, and Henderson unfortunately getting the short end of the stick. They had a following game where they went back to Henderson, played at the Dollar Loan Center, and that was against the Bakersfield Condors, and Bakersfield won 6-3 in that matchup. And, it was a really sad situation because if you actually kind of compare what happened in that game, there was some sparks there, especially from Caden Korzak, the young defenseman there. You had Lucas Cormier score his first professional goal with the Vegas Golden Knights organization. You had a goal later in the game from Sheldon Rample that was assisted by Byron Freeze, and that was a power play goal, kind of shifted the dynamic in that game. But the one problem that these Henderson Silver Knights had is that they were playing from behind. They started out a little sluggish in the first period, and by the time they started to get their bearings and started to get better in the second period, they were already down by 2 goals, and it was kind of hard for them to get back up and hard for them to really get some momentum going. So that's the reason why they lost 6-3 on that night against the Bakersfield Condors. And I will give credit to Daniil Myromanov. He retaliated. He got his first goal of the season in the AHL for the Henderson Silver Knights in that game. And Spencer Foe, who was an offseason acquisition they acquired from the KHL, marked his first point as a Henderson Silver Knight in that game. Now, we transition over a few days later, and you have a situation where the San Diego Gulls, who are the AHL affiliate of the Anaheim Ducks, they come to the Dollar Loan Center. And I can't really say anything nice about this except for the fact that they suited up and they played a game. Because the San Diego Gulls beat the Henderson Silver Knights 7-0 in this game. A goalie prospect, a top goalie prospect for the Anaheim Ducks, and Lucas Doskal had a shutout against the Henderson Silver Knights. He looks like a upcoming star for the Anaheim Ducks. Maybe when they get rid of John Gibson in the future, Lucas Doskal will end up becoming a goalie in net for the Anaheim Ducks. But, that game, there really is nothing nice to say about it. It's a game that happened. They lost 7-0. And unfortunately, the Henderson Silver Knights just got outplayed for 3 periods. So a few days later, the Henderson Silver Knights, they went and did a 2-game series in Abbotsford. Now, Abbotsford, the affiliate of the Vancouver Canucks, and they lost the first game 2-1. Watching this on AHL TV, where you can watch the Henderson Silver Knights or listen to them on 12:30 a.m. for anybody who wants to listen to the radio. When it comes to Abbotsford, they simply outscored Henderson in night one. They scored 2-1, and it was a back and forth matchup, a lot of hard pounding and grueling physicality in that game. But Abbotsford, they got the one extra goal. They won that game at 2-1. Now the next game, when they went 3-2 for the Henderson Silver Knights, picking up their first win in the month of November during that time, it was a situation where the Henderson Silver Knights took advantage of a late opportunity. They took advantage of Abbotsford making a mistake. They win the game 3-2, and they ended up getting their first win in the month. So after having that back-to-back series in Abbotsford, they actually came out with an article saying that they were going to have Military Appreciation Night in their upcoming game against the Ontario region at the Dollar Loan Center. And that is, in fact, what they did. So if you had gone to that game with the Ontario region on November 19th, you would have gone to Military Appreciation Night for the Henderson Silver Knights. But let's get back to the 4-game road trip that they were part of. Now, they had a back-to-back game against the Tucson Roadrunners of the affiliate of the Arizona Coyotes. Now, Henderson dominated on November 15th. They absolutely beat up on the Tucson Roadrunners. They won 7-1 in this game, and there's a lot to talk about in terms of scoring. Brendan Bryson, the number one prospect for the Vegas Golden Knights, scored the game-winning goal. You also had 12 different Silver Knights have a goal and or assist in this game. You also had a franchise record for the Henderson Silver Knights with goals scored with 5 in a period, and the franchise record for goals scored in a game with 7. You also had former KHL defenseman Danny Chaka record his first professional point with the Henderson Silver Knights organization. So there was a lot of firsts that happened in this 7-1 win against the Tucson Roadrunners. You also had Gage Quinney, who buried it open side of the net to extend the lead out there. Byron Fries earned the secondary assist on that goal. You also had Connor Ford make his first kind of big news with the Henderson Silver Knights. He got a 4-1 goal at that point. So with the Henderson Silver Knights picking up momentum, having back-to-back wins in the Henderson Silver Knights schedule, they go back to Tucson the night after, and it went off the rails. It absolutely fell apart for the Henderson Silver Knights. They went 6-2 against Tucson. It just simply put all the magic and all the momentum they had for those 2 games. They eventually fell apart. Now, Lucas Cormier, he had a goal in the game. Daniil Myromanoff, he had a goal in the game. But that's essentially all I can say positively about that game. So, November 19th, the Military Appreciation Night that I was talking about earlier with the Ontario region. Now, the popular part about this game is that the Henderson Silver Knights wore a special themed jersey for that night. They had a military color jersey. It was black with military attire on it. They had a USA patch on the side of their jersey. They actually had some really nice jerseys in that game. And the Henderson Silver Knights won 3-1 against the Ontario region, the affiliate of the LA Kings. You had Lucas Cormier have a point streak of 3 consecutive games as he picked up a goal here. You had Daniil Myromanoff score his 4th goal in 4 games. And Gage Quinney, the Vegas-born forward, had the game-winning goal in the Military Appreciation Night against Ontario. I also will give credit to Jari Patara. This is actually the best performance he did in that month, as he had 33 of 34 shots stopped and his 97 save percentage, which was one of the best performances of the year. The day after having Military Appreciation Night, they had a Sunday afternoon matinee, and the Ontario region won that one 3-2. It was a hard-fought battle with the Silver Knights in the Ontario region. this just ended up being a situation where the Henderson Silver Knights, they just did not have enough at the end of the game to end up winning. Quick honorable mention, by the way, to LA Kings former second overall pick, Quinton Byfield, who had the first goal of the game for the Ontario region. If Quinton Byfield is not back in the NHL at some point this year, it will be a crime considering how good he looked in his 2 games against the Henderson Silver Knights. You also had Ivan Morozov score the game, tie it up at 1. So you have the guy from the KHL and Ivan Morozov who scored his first AHL goal, really starting to build up some momentum for the Henderson Silver Knights. Brant Clark, who scored for the Ontario region, another top prospect of the LA Kings. I mean, I'll say this about the LA Kings. They're in the playoff hunt right now in the NHL, but don't be surprised if Clark and Byfield are playing in the NHL by the end of the year. So when it comes to your Henderson Silver Knights, the situation that was going on in this month, there were some ups, there were some downs, but the main story of it was building. It was developing. The fact that Daniil Miromanov had a 4-game goal streak for the Henderson Silver Knights is the reason why I'm guaranteed, and I'm very positive, that Daniil Miromanov is going to get a shot in the NHL. And regardless if it's as a healthy scratch or if it's a bottom line defenseman, Daniil Miromanov will get his opportunity at some point in the 2022 season to play for the Vegas Golden Knights. His talent level and the way that he can play the game for the AHL level, it's time for him to get promoted to the NHL. So I do have 2 games left to talk about from the score sheet, going over the recap of the month with the Henderson Silver Knights. So there was the game against Ontario. So the last 2 games to go over with the Henderson Silver Knights in that month, you had them go against Bakersfield once again, the AHL affiliate of the Edmonton Oilers. And for the 3rd time in the month, they went up short against Bakersfield. They lost 3-2 in this matchup. And unfortunately, Daniil Miromanov, he scored his 5th goal in that month of November. Colt Conrad, he put Henderson on the board, a guy that we hadn't talked about yet, Colt Conrad. You also had Jermaine Luen, who ended up, getting a rebound and everything going on there. Some solid play by Luen. But when it came to the Bakersfield Condor, they simply put it away, late in the 2nd period, and they started to pull away in the 3rd period. So with the Henderson Silver Knights organization, everything that happened in that month, so what happened in terms of the win column and everything that happened there in that 12 games that happened in that month, the Henderson Silver Knights, unfortunately, they only won 4 games during that month. So for them going 4-8 during that time period is not a fantastic sheet in terms of wins and losses. But I will defend the Henderson Silver Knights here. In the AHL, it's not really about wins and losses. It's about developing young talent. It's similar to the AAA system in MLB. Anybody who's ever been to a Las Vegas Aviators game will know that it's not really about the wins and losses when you go to Las Vegas ballpark. It's not really counting how many wins the Las Vegas Aviators have accumulated throughout the year. All that matters is, are these top prospects for said organization, are they eventually going to get good enough to get called up to MLB? The same situation is with the AHL. Are AHL players going to be good enough at this level to eventually get promoted to the NHL? And there are some talent on this organization that confidently I would give the nod and would say you are NHL ready. Now, I'm going to point out that I am not an NHL scout. Obviously. I am not an NHL scout. I do not understand certain aspects of the game that scouts get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to analyze and examine. But looking at it from a certain point of view like I do, I would say Daniil Miromanov would be the first guy I would call up. I've been praising him all show long. Daniil Myromanoff, his puck possession, his hockey IQ, the way that he presents himself on the ice, his calm and collected demeanor. Daniil Myromanoff does not look like a guy who was just playing in the KHL a couple of years ago. Daniil Myromanoff does not look like a young, up-and-coming prospect who's only played a few years playing professional hockey in North America. The way that he handles himself as a AHL player, he will get the nod to the NHL at some point. Another player that I say will get that opportunity eventually, and I really hope that he does get this opportunity, would be Pavel Doriev. Now, he has only had 6 goals this season for the Henderson Silver Knights, but what he has shown is that early on in his career in the AHL level, that he is somebody who could pass the puck around, and that's very important in the NHL. There's been a lot of documentaries, and there's been a lot of reports. If you watch behind the scenes in the NHL, they care about how you handle the puck. Are you giving away the puck? Are you getting opportunities to the other players? Are you somebody that can create opportunities, or are you someone who's creating opportunities for the other team? And for the Russian, the 22-year-old Pavel Doriev, he is someone that really only 2 years into his professional hockey career in North America, he is doing things on the ice that you can only explain as amazingly well. This is the reason why he had 27 goals last year in the AHL for the Henderson Silver Knights. Him only having 6 goals this year. It's unfortunate that he's had a little bit of a setback, but what he's doing on the ice and the way that he is possessing the puck, not causing as many turnovers as some 22-year-olds would, I would say Pavel Doriev, he would be the second guy I would call up personally to the NHL if I was a member of the Vegas Golden Knights. What he's been doing on the ice this month has been great. And the last one that I would give an honorable mention to would be Lucas Cormier, the number 2 prospect for the Vegas Golden Knights. You know, this guy, only 20 years old as a defenseman, 4 goals, a +2 for the Henderson Silver Knights. You know, Lucas Cormier, first season playing professional hockey for the Henderson Silver Knights. So that might be the hesitation as to why he won't get called up right away. He's played less than 25 professional games in the Vegas Golden Knights system. But I want to ask yourself this question. If you are a 20-year-old defenseman and you have the talent, you pass the eye test, why not give them a cup of coffee in the NHL, huh? Why not give them 5 games in the NHL and see what they can do? You know, worst case scenario, they fall flat in your butt. They send you down to the AHL. You go back to where you were going to be anyway. So the 3 players from this month that really have impressed me, and I would send them up to the Vegas Golden Knights right now, it would be Daniil Myromanoff, the defenseman, forward Pavel Doriev, and defenseman, and their number 2 prospect in their system, Lucas Cormier. So this was our Henderson Silver Knights report here on Vegas Hockey Hub. I'm your host, Ian Rickelli. Yeah, they went 4-8 in this month. Hopefully next month will be better at the Dollar Loan Center in Henderson, Nevada. Very quickly, I want to say to all the people watching around the world, if you can go to Henderson, Nevada on a weekend, if you could go to Dollar Loan Center, go watch the Henderson Silver Knights in person. It's an amazing minor league arena, one of the best in minor league hockey. So I advise you and I recommend going to Dollar Loan Center. It's a fantastic event. Send your family down there. They have so many activities for the fans and families as well. So go check that out. So until next time, I'm your host, Ian Rickelli. Continue watching hockey. Go support junior hockey. Go Knights, go, and have a good one.